If you're on the internet at all, chances are you've seen one of these many emulation devices out there. They were wildly popular last year to the point where pretty much everyone on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram was pushing these things out. I believe that company was called Amernic. Now, I'm not sure exactly who makes this. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's just a commodity product rebranded over and over and over again by a bunch of nameless vendors. But this right here, this Game Master, was given to me by a friend of mine. Danny, if you're out there watching, thank you. Didn't have to, but thank you. I appreciate it. It's one of those things where I kept looking at them and seeing the advertisements for them, but I never actually bought one. I couldn't justify it. I have a lot of stuff down here, and I have a lot of handhelds that gather dust, so I just could not justify buying another handheld that would just gather dust somewhere on a shelf or not really get played at all. But it was given to me, so thank you. Let's unbox it real quick and kind of show you what you get. I'm not sure how all these work here, but slide the cover off here, pop it open like this. You get a little a pad, a protecting pad here. Pop it out, and you can see it's already on because we have been using it. And you get to the console itself, you get a charging cable, and an instruction booklet, kind of. More on that a little bit later. It's not the easiest, most intuitive thing to use, but anyways, this is it right here. This is one of these handheld, meant to look like original Game Boy, even the purple Game Boy Color edition. It's actually pretty neat. Now, this is not an endorsement. This isn't a sponsored video. If it was, I'd be happy. So I don't get anything for saying this is not bad. And that's kind of the reality. It's not bad. I kept seeing these things over and over again, and I really didn't find anything negative about them online. If you're just looking for something to pop out of your pocket while you're like at work or on the bus or, I don't know, bored around the house or outside watching the kids, this is fine. This is great, actually. It does a lot of stuff really well. Now, that's not to say everything does everything well. In fact, the N64 emulation leaves a lot to be desired, but that's going to happen with a lot of this stuff. A lot of this stuff was not meant to be emulated, and boy, it certainly shows. So the device itself has these 4 buttons in the back, which are very uncomfortable. I know it's trying to emulate a lot of systems, but this isn't the best feature it has. In fact, these things are uncomfortable to use. It's uncomfortable, a little awkward, and in general, a lot of this stuff is awkward. And I get it. You're trying to make a gamepad and a whole thing, a control scheme for 35 years worth of gaming. It's not going to be the best, but it's serviceable for sure. The buttons on the side over here, we got like this power button right here, which you tap it once, it'll bring it out of sleep mode. Hold it down, it'll turn it off. You got a reset button, it looks like, and then the volume control. This thing is surprisingly loud. We'll get to that later too. Here's where things kind of got wonky. So the screen itself, I don't know what kind of screen it is, but it is actually really pretty. It's very crystal clear. I was really impressed by that. I thought, whenever you got these budget consoles, these emulation devices in the past, they were kind of janky quality. You're getting bootleg games on a bootleg device, and it's not going to be the best thing ever. But the screen is surprisingly clear and clean. Very, very high resolution as far as I can tell. So you do get a lot of different games on it. A ton of different emulators are on this already with a bunch of games. And you go into each one of these menus here, these sub-menus, or the game menus, and you'll find what they have to offer here. I was mainly excited about the Neo Geo stuff on here because I don't own one of those. The game's really cool for it, and they always looked like fun to play, but I never got into it, mainly because of rarity and expense. I'll have to already burn 2% just from doing this. I have to find a way to charge this. Well, we're going to have to do the rest of this video with a power cable plugged in because I didn't charge this, and we've been using it a fair amount at Game Club. So, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to make a video about this device. Is it charged? Heavens no. Okay, so this is where things kind of get wonky here. It was at 1% about 30 seconds ago, and now it's at 36% just plugging the charger in, so make of that what you will. There's a function button here which doesn't seem to do anything. I'm not sure why it's there, but it doesn't really do anything. There's a select button here, it doesn't really do anything. Oh, it did something. What the heck is it doing now? It looks like just a demo mode, just showing some of the stuff it has on there. Okay, that's fine. So start, obviously start. It'll start the game you're playing, you want to play, and that's pretty straightforward. I think most people can figure this out, and it's not rocket science, by the way. If this looks like I'm having trouble using it, I'm not. It's not a difficult device to figure out or use. But it is weird is that there's a headphone jack down here, and then there's this other USB-C port here called OTG. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, the manual, the user manual will have a whole bunch of this information in there, like defining what everything is in the machine itself. It does not. In fact, the only thing I found out from the user manual is you can press twice on those to go back to the main menu and suspend your game. So when you go into each game system here, you'll find that some of the systems are completely loaded up with games and some systems don't have that many. Dreamcast is one of those. There's a lot of great ones here, don't get me wrong, like a lot of amazing games. Ikaruga, Giga Wing 2, you have Crazy Taxi, all that good stuff. But in general, there's not the entire Dreamcast library here. Mileage will vary on which system you choose. Genesis is super duper emulated all the time, so you have a fair amount, if not the entire library here. Again, I'm not positive, but that's a lot of games for the Genesis. You also have DS emulation, and again, it's going to vary based on each emulator. You'll have a lot of stuff, you'll have not a lot of stuff, but you are getting heavy hitters here that are very, very expensive. So if you're trying to save money and play some of these old games that are out of print and people want $5,000 on eBay, no lowballers, I know what I got, no game, no manual, case only, then this is the best way to do it. Well, maybe not the best way to do it, but it's certainly a way to do it. And that just depends on how you feel about what this is, which is basically an emulation device being sold with ROMs. Let's go over here. Even the Capcom, like there's a whole bunch of stuff. I don't really know what I'm looking at half the time here, but I know there's a whole bunch of arcade stuff. There's MAME on here. I think that's an arcade emulator, right? I have no idea. But yeah, there's a ton of different stuff here. Look at this Famicom, 1,600 games available, 113 for Super Famicom, 4,000 Nintendo games, 900 SNES games. Tons of stuff on here, just tons of stuff. This is what I was excited for, the Neo Geo stuff. I am a Metal Slug fan, so I've been playing that pretty religiously here. And again, you have 175 games for that. 72 for PlayStation. Not the biggest selection, not the greatest selection, but Alundra, those are expensive games right there. Very nice to have those if you want to sit down and play them. The Darkstalkers, always fun. Dino Crisis, very expensive. Yeah, I think you can see here, real quick, more or less what you get. And it might not have your favorite thing on there, but there's enough here to keep you busy. There is a removable battery back here. I don't know, I'm not going to remove it, don't need to for any reason right now. But yeah, that's the overview of it. It's pretty comfy to hold. I have fat hands and fat fingers, but it's not bad. I can play it for a fair amount of time before I get a little cramped up. But there's a lot of stuff here, and I'm sure if you know your way around ROMs and emulation, then you can make this way better than what it is, or you can turn it into something really, really cool. But for someone like me, it's fine. This thing has sat on my desk at school for the past 2 weeks now, I think, maybe a little longer. And people just come up and start playing it. They play the old games on it. They enjoy it. So there is something here. I guess you can consider this an endorsement of these little emulation devices. This one's like between $50 and $60. So they're not going to break the bank. And what you're getting here is probably a lot of value out of it if you're looking for something like this just to play and leave in a room in your house, leave in the car, wherever it may be. Would I want to sit down and play this thing for hours upon hours upon hours on end? Would I want to have a whole day gaming session with this thing? Absolutely not. But it's really fun and enjoyable just to pick it up at your desk between classes or something like that, play a game for a little bit, play some Metal Slug, play a platformer, put it back down, and go about your day. I'm sure it's not the greatest emulation solution out there, but it certainly works for what I wanted, and it's a pretty cool little device. I was genuinely surprised, and I hope this video kind of did a decent job of explaining what you get with it, what it comes with, if it's comfortable. If you want a device just to do some quick gaming on the side here and there, or want to relive some childhood memories without breaking the bank, I think this is going to be something that you might enjoy. And again, I'm not being paid to say that. I actually like this little thing a lot more than I thought I would. As far as emulation devices go, I'm sure you could do worse. This thing's pretty good.